All right, and you make some kind of historical blanket coats too, right?
Yes, the blanket coats are part of the history from my mother's side of the family, which is included in Book 1. And so this was devised by my ancestors that came here 13 generations ago on my mother's side and married. It was a band of Scottish chieftains who were escaping because they didn't like what was going on there, and they came here to find a better life for their people. And they met. It was a whole band of Scottish chieftains that met a whole band of Cree women who were without men. And they met, they were both camped on either side of the Red River. Well, there's a lot of history, and they married, and they created a huge new nation which populates a quarter of the North American continent, more in the northwest. Some of them fled south when Sitting Bull was fleeing north, and they settled in Turtle Mountains, North Dakota, which is where my mother was from. And when they first met, the Cree women and the Scottish men, their first children, when they turned 16, were sent back to Scotland to meet their relatives over there. The Scots kept half of the boys because the Scottish clans go through the male line. And while they were there, they found that the relatives that had been left behind in Scotland were forced into being sheep herders by the English. And so this wool blanket was devised for trade. And so they brought the wool blanket back with them, and then that's how the blanket coat came into being. And they traded it with other Indian tribes in the Rocky Mountains and all over the north and the east. They had big trade routes down the Mississippi. They went everywhere with this blanket coat. And so by the time the rest of the white people, when Columbus banged into the islands southeast and banged into America, then when those white people came in, they eventually co-opted that those trade routes, and Hudson Bay co-opted it, and it became known as the Hudson Bay blanket, which is the Métis, the Michifs, which is who my mother's people were already 5 generations old, their trade routes. And so then the Hudson Bay co-opted it.
So a lot of mountain and voyageur rendezvous types wear these things and like them, right?
Right, and they come from the Johnny-come-lately voyageur, French voyageur so-called people that then traded with alcohol and did all kinds of other nasty things with these blankets.
Well, anyway.
Anyhow, so this blanket coat, though, I like to make it because it symbolizes a beautiful meeting between the Cree and the Scots that happened with the energy of love and mutual respect, and happened in a good way, and so it was a marriage based on love.
Oh, that's good.
And so I love to make the blanket coat for that.
Now, if someone wants one, all they got to do is give you the right sizes, and there's examples of the coats.
I have to have particular measurements from them, and then I can cut the coat to fit them.
And there's examples of the sizes on the website.
Right. Well, just tell they can have a choice of color, and then there's different styles that I make, and so they have a choice of what sleeve style they want and what color blanket they want. And then I have to have their measurements.
And they can get embroidery on the hood or maybe beadwork.
Yeah, and then there's the frills. Yeah, they can have embroidery or leather work. Or
there's authentic
jingles or whatever.
Authentic deer horn buttons.
Well, I don't put buttons on them because buttons are not traditional.
But they're deer horn things anyway.
So if they don't want, they want a complete historical traditional blanket coat, it has no buttons. And then the coat, once it's worn out, becomes more valuable if it's historical.
And it's made from...
It's historically made.
It's made from all natural stuff.
It's a wool blanket. It's from sheep.
Yeah, natural sheep. I mean...
Not high-tech sheep.
No, I mean there's no synthetic material.
Animal-type sheep.
There's no synthetic...
We're not talking about sheeple.
It's all organic, non-synthetic materials.
Right.
All natural, yeah. So that's good. You can border that.
Even what I use for embroidery is wool.
Good. Does it have any special properties as far as
Well, wool is warm even when it's wet, so if you're getting rained on, you're going to stay warm in a capote.
And these are extra warm.
And the Hudson Bay blanket in particular is a winter coat. You can't wear it in the summer. I do a lighter weight wool, which is wool rich, and it's a lighter weight wool in the same colors that can be used in this weather, fall, spring, and cool nights.
But it's not as historical as the Hudson Bay one.
Yeah, it would be a historical blanket coat. It would just be not as heavy. It wouldn't be a winter coat.
Oh. Anyway, all those options will be on the...
And it's cheaper than the Hudson Bay.
Will be on there. And
the Hudson Bay blanket has 4 beaver marks on it, which shows how much the Indians originally traded 4 beaver pelts for each blanket.
Although some are 8, and there's...
I don't use that size. I only use 4-point blankets.
Well, someone was really big in order to coat. We might need an 8-sizer.
I've never had anyone that big. I couldn't fit a 4-point on.
All right. And okay, well that sounds very good. That's the end.